welcome Naomi to the meetup event and let us know what all you're going to bring us as a value to Amazon seller.
Sure thing. All right, perfect. Today I wanted to share with your audience and whoever is listening 10 costly mistakes to avoid as an Amazon seller. These are the mistakes that I personally learned and I want to share and advocate as much as possible. My name is Noemi Bolojan. I am co-founder of ScaleWave. We are an agency that specializes in helping small to mid-size. Even right now, we are helping larger sellers launch on the platform. If they are not already on the platform, we're helping them come on the platform and ensure that they are going to be successful on the platform. I'm also the co-host of the Wizards of Ecom podcast. Here, as you can see, it shows Wizards of Ecom, sellers helping sellers. That's our motto. Here we are, 10 costly mistakes to avoid as an Amazon seller, right? And the very first mistake that I'm going to share is really understanding the business model. The biggest mistakes that people are making right now before considering joining the Amazon private label seller journey, quote unquote, understanding the business model. And here, what I'm talking about business model, I'm referring to how much time does it take, what expenses does it require, how much capital does it require, what is your plan with the business, and what is the net income. I think these are crucial questions that most people are not being sold on. They are being sold on a free 9 to 5, like beach, next to the beach, you're going to work and so on, which is, yes, it can become at some point, but when you're going to start probably, it's going to be grinding, a lot of work. And it really depends on where you are in your life. If you're starting from scratch and if you have just a bit of money, again, how much time would it require on your end? Probably it's going to require more time on your end because you're going to learn a lot of new skills that you would have not used them previously, right? So knowing how much time does it take, how much time do you have realistically? You might say that you want to start selling on Amazon and you realize that you have 2 hours that you can invest in selling on Amazon. Great. So how can you become a 6-figure, 7-figure, even 8-figure seller with the 2 hours? It's going to be different answer for each of those questions, so understanding really how the business model works. What do you have currently? I love to put it, if you might have 2 of these things, time, money, or expertise. So whichever you have already, just to maximize that, what you have. Back when we started, I didn't really understood the business model. Therefore, I had a limited budget and I had a lot of time. I wanted to immerse myself and learn as much as possible. So then I had time and money on my end and I learned expertise, right? But if you're already an expert on some particular topic, I think you should not neglect that because you can maximize it as much as you can. Understanding the business model again. The second thing that I see...
Just quickly, Noemi, I'll quickly chime in with my recent experience.
Please.
2 days back, I had this meetup and there was a new person from Dallas. He signed up and we spoke. He was an IT consultant. He had invested in a tech startup. He was about to get married. And then he said, "Oh, I would like to do something on e-commerce." I said, "How do you think that you can manage all 4 things all together?" And he kept on saying, "Yes, I can do it. I have a lot of time on weekend." I said, "Amazon or e-commerce selling is not only weekend job."
Right.
Then even if you figure out your time, do you have a marketing budget? Have you seen what kind of money which you require for this business? And he was literally clueless. So when you mentioned that, I immediately remembered the conversation I had just had 2 days back. And then he could figure out, oh, this is, I think I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah. But I think my main takeaway from this one is not necessarily to making people feel bad, but making them understand what really it takes, right? So back then when we started, I didn't understood what it takes. It was so exciting and so many times the excitement takes over rather than rational, like, okay, what does it take? How much budget do I require? Is this realistic to go with this product that I want to sell it for $100? Imagine for $100 product, you do have to have a lot of budget in order to buy that product. If you're starting with a $5 product as retail price, probably you can get it way cheaper, but also the competition is going to be there. Also, you're going to go for a volume game rather than on making a higher profit margin. So definitely, thank you so much for sharing that. That is really like that. It's just like taking time to understand what does it takes, because it's really a business. Amazon is a business. Amazon is not a playground. Amazon is a business, right? So I think it's really, really important. Second thing is creating systems and SOPs. And I think that, again, coming from a non-business background, it took me a lot of time to understand what systems are, how to create SOPs, which are the processes that supposed to run this business smoothly, right? And basically SOP stands for Standard Operating Procedures. But something that I want to share with you that I wish I would have back when I started is two of my favorite episodes that I had on the podcast, Wizards of Ecom podcast. These are two of the guests that I'm really respecting. One of them is going to talk about systematization. It's Ellie Lipschatz. And basically, we are going through the process of how to systemize your business, understanding what systems are, understanding what goals are, understanding how to get from A to B, knowing what B is, right? And the second one is going to be a project management 101 with Leah Pumper. Now she is a superstar. She is like a huge YouTube influencer. Also, she is a brilliant project management expert, and we were just literally going step by step through the process. What means project management, how to take from zero project management and really bring it to life within the business that you're creating. And I also have two books. They're my favorite ones. I am always recommending them. These two books are basically Working Backwards by Bill Carr and Colin Breyer. And these two gentlemen actually worked in Amazon, and they are going to share the system Amazon is based on, basically, and the way how they are structuring things without spoiler alerts, but the way how they have the desired outcome is not by going one step, two step, three step, four step, but this is where I want to be, and then how do I work backwards to get point B, right? So having point B in mind, and then from point A, you can get there. Again, it's a very, very, very simplistic process, but I think at the beginning, everything, it's so messy, so many things, so many new skills. You have to learn that you're not even thinking of how to do things properly. So this is really the 20/80 rule, how to get most of the outcome with the least amount of work. And then The Image Revisited by Michael E. Gerber. Again, a book that I'm highly recommending to everyone. And for me, the aha moment was really understanding that you are not your business and your business is not you. It was a huge, I think it's a huge, biggest aha moment that I ever had. I always was a hard worker. I always wanted to over deliver. I always wanted to give my 110%. But what I learned during this book, again, without giving you spoiler alerts, it's really understanding the difference between you and your business, and getting to know when you are your business and when you separate yourself from your business. It's very, very important. Giving it very shortly, if you get sick, your business gets sick. If you are healthy, your business is healthy. If you need time off, your business will need time off. So this is when you are identifying with your business. Now, the next step is going to be once that you decide, okay, this is my business, this is how it looks, it has its own persona, I am not my business. We're going to go to the next step, actually, that I'm going to just share with your audience, and understanding how to work on the business itself rather than working in the business. It's a huge gap of understanding. Once that you get this, really you can unlock the pathway to success, right? And this is how your audience can find our podcast. It's called Podcast Wizards of Ecom. This is the thumbnail. This is why I'm also sharing it. But basically, understanding the process of business is not only just like, I can do it on weekends. Yes, you can do it on weekends, but think of it that everyone who's doing business right now, or most people who are super successful, they have this already, like they'll need it time. So if you want to become them at some point in life, you would need to also implement this one. Any questions there, or should we go forward? All righty.
No, not yet. That was good.
Brilliant. So starting to delegate, again, something that I learned the hard way, and I think it was 2 years since we started actually legitimately selling on Amazon. At this point, we were six-figure sellers. Still, I was doing everything by my own, and I enjoyed that. It was a learning curve. It was something that I really enjoyed, and I thought that I should be doing. However, when it comes to delegation, what I learned is that delegation can be done through two things, through software and through people. And I think this is very crucial for you to understand, because you might be saying, hey Noemi, or hey Lokesh, I don't have, I don't know, $100, $1,000, $2,000 to have someone who's a specialist and hire them. But what you can do is hiring a software. So think of it, what is the least expensive software that you can get in order to know your books? Probably having, I don't know, Seller Board, Sellerize. There are so many software, so many tools out there, but something that is going to show you, look, this is where I am. These are my cost of goods sold. This is how much Amazon, how many Amazon fees are being taken down, storage fees, and so many fees that you might have no clue about, right? So what you did, technically, you hired a software for 20, 40, 100, however budget you have per month in order to become smarter in your business, right? So whenever I'm talking about delegation, software is also a part of the delegation. ChatGPT, it's a free software that you can use within your business. You can write emails, you can use it for codes, you can use it for so many things. Again, you're delegating your work to a software. You can use it to become better. So that is the idea. And once that you decide that, okay, next thing is I kind of figure this out. I know where I want to go with my business. I know that I'm selling these products. I know that I need a marketing team, quote unquote, because at this point, you're still the marketing team. You're still the product development team. You're all the teams all together, bookkeeper and so on, photographer probably. Once that you're going to figure out, okay, what's my next hire? Which are the things that I'm doing most, or which are the things that I want to become an expert in? Then you will start delegating to people. Again, I think this part is going to be truly efficient once that you figure out this part, the second part that I talked about, SOPs. Most of the time what I see, and also talking from my own mistakes, we hired out tests that I personally didn't know how to do it, and we hired them out to trainees. So they were not experts. So there was no way for them to know what I want. And also for them, there was no way to know what actually I expect from them. So there were no SOPs in place. Recognizing my mistake, yes. So this can happen, and it's okay. It's okay if you realize what you want to achieve, and then based on that, having everything in place, having SOPs in place, understanding if you're going to hire out to someone, explain to them exactly what you need, or if it's an expert, again, delegate it to an expert and let them know what the KPIs are, what are your expectations from them. That way it's going to be way easier for you. So this is from the starting to delegation process, and this is something that people either are doing it too fast, either they are doing it too slow, either they just don't really know when to delegate. Fastest thing that you can delegate to is a software. So creating a brand, this is again one of the most commonly seen mistakes that I see people doing, and especially since this is not necessarily a mistake 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when it really does not matter the type of product that I'm bringing out. It can be, I don't know, a shoelace and it's selling successfully on Amazon, or a shower curtain or whatever. And you can have this ton of random products selling, right? Which is good. But that's kind of an online/retail arbitrage model. It's not necessarily, oh, this is something that is going to work well, and then I'm going to create a brand for it. So right now in 2023, when you're watching this, my advice to you is to choose one niche and maybe add 3 different products, rather than choosing 3 different niches and go with 3 different products. Reason why is simply so much resources that you can have. 3 different niches means 3 different audiences, 3 different, like, it's kind of like 3 different businesses, 3 different like 3 different entities, right? So this is why whenever it comes to a brand, I would highly recommend you to go for one brand and just find products within the same niche, rather than just go and see, oh, this, I don't know, fire extinguisher, it works well, let me try that. This, I don't know, our cat is just licking himself here. So this, I don't know, paw protector, it's going to be it, right? So understanding that, I think it's important. Next is going to be register your trademark. Now, this mistake, again, was not so costly maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, but right now, it's very, very hard to change brand names on Amazon, and it's hard and expensive as well. And technically, Amazon does not really approve it. There are ways to go about it, that's like gray hat, but having a brand name right from the start, it's going to help you tremendously, because one, it's going to take away the headache of, oh, I just use this generic brand and now I can use my brand name. The proof of concept was there, the product works, and so on. It's going to save you a lot of extra effort, extra headaches that you should not be investing in. Now, some of the perks of having a registered trademark, you can apply for brand registry, and then you can have some very cool tools that you can use to really optimize your listing. You can use really to defend your listing. And let me show you exactly what can it do. So brand dashboard, you will have access to this one. And here, basically, it's going to be brand analytics, everything on your brand, who your customer is, demographics, age, income. So many things that you might not even thought that is actually your customer, Amazon is going to show you, right? And then you also have the search query performance reports available for you. So this is, if you're familiar with third-party softwares, Helium 10, there are so many out there. Helium 10 is one of the most known. But what Helium 10 does, actually, it's an approximation of whatever the search query performance report that is within the Amazon platform is going to show you, right? So again, this is huge, and once that you have brand registry, you would have access to this one. When it comes to your listing itself, you will have access to A+ content and also to storefront. So these two, what are they going to help with is, remember when we went back and we were saying 3 different products and then 3 different brands and then 3 different niches? So here, what you're going to show to your customer is that you're a real brand. You're not the one product, but you have products within one brand. This is all branding. This is, I am the same voice that it's going to, I'm talking the same way to all of my customers. So it's the same color palette, the same, it's similarity, and also it shows strength, that you know what you're doing, and it also helps you trust more, or your customers trust more your brand, right? Again, there are so many amazing tools here, just because you have brand registry. A+ content storefront is one of them. This is going to help with your conversion, and eventually this is going to help you get the cheapest sales of all, or if it comes to like a lot of competition, to stay on top of your brand. Next, what brand registry can help with is the sponsor brand ads. So these are extremely cool. Basically, whenever someone is going to write down a keyword, so search for a keyword. Here I wrote baby diapers. So, and I showed with you the mobile view and the desktop view as well. This is what they are going to see, your brand. And if you see it, especially on the mobile view, it's going to take up almost half of your phone, right? So when someone is going to look for you, you can show up there for that position, for that placement. You can launch that ad for them. And as well for sponsored, for the desktop view, you will show up top right before any other products will show up. Again, this is possible just because you filed for your trademark and you have active brand registry. Next thing, that again, something that is super costly mistake that most sellers are not aware of, is paying attention to their inventory. And here I would like to share a personal story. What happened to us when we first launched our products, and honestly, we did not expect it to be this successful at the beginning. And you know, those stories that is like, oh, this didn't work out as we wanted to, and so on and so forth. And then people are just so upset with whatever happened within their business ventures whenever they just launched a business and it didn't turn out the way they wanted. So that was not our case. We were the happy winners, quote unquote, of this project. And when we launched, we were very, very successful. However, for the project itself, we had prepared $5,000. That it was, we are losing it. Good. We learned at least one new skill set. That $5,000 ramped up really quickly to 30,000 within 2-3 months. The reason why is that our product was very, very successful, and we did not expect that success, and we did not prepare inventory for it, right? So what happened is that we had a successful launch. We almost sold out of products, and then we had 300 more units, and then it was like, okay, what do we do next? Do we invest more in products, in inventory? Do we what's our next step, So this is why I'm saying that most of the time, it doesn't really matter how good you are, how good your skills are, how optimized your listing is, how well prepared you are. If the inventory is not there, you're going to sell out of stock. And unfortunately, right now in 2023, Amazon is not really favoring you running out of stock, because that shows them weakness, right? So one, again, of the costly mistakes is to avoid, for you as an Amazon seller, it's to ensure that you are staying on top of your inventory. Next one is updating your Amazon listings. Again, brand analytics, if you have access to trademark, to brand registry via trademark, this is something that can help tremendously. But I think one of the biggest mistakes that I see people making is because they chose a product that the numbers made sense, and it was like, maybe they researched it with one of those tools, softwares, whatever. I have nothing against that. Yes. What I'm saying is just don't rely only on data because a tool told you so. Because most of the time you might not be aware of who your customer avatar is, and then if your listing is speaking to your customer avatar. Yes. So again, I'm not talking to you if you're a high-end, high-profile seller who already knows what they're doing and have been launched successfully 1,000 listings. Okay, I'm exaggerating there just for effect, but really understand that if you're not going to talk to your potential customer, think of it like, I have this closest to me. So think of it, this is your product, and you would have it placed right next to one that is quite similar. And if it's not differentiating, it's not differentiating enough for you to win the click, right? Then it doesn't really matter how much you invested in the product, doesn't really matter how much inventory you have. You don't know who it is selling to, right? You don't know their pain points. You don't know why they want the product. So investing a bit of time in understanding who your customer is and updating your listing accordingly, it's really crucial. Once that you're missing on this, you're not only missing on potential profit, but also missing on opportunities, right? So there's also opportunity cost. Next one is gaining reviews. Reviews game is something that unfortunately I see again a lot of sellers making this mistake, that they rely on, oh, it's fine, I'm going to get just good reviews and everything is going to be okay. Not to scare you, but to make you aware once that you're going to receive a 1-star review on your listing, freshly optimized, amazing listing with, I don't know, thousands of units in inventory. I said that's going to happen. That's going to affect your conversion rate, which means that the moment that someone is going to consider your product, they are not going to consider it anymore because someone left one review. Honestly, it's better to have 0 reviews than 1 negative star review, right? So making you aware that there are still, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There are still ways how you can gain reviews, and these are all within Amazon TLS compliant. So there is a request a review button that is going to show up once that someone is placing an order, and you can ask for it, I think, within 5 to 7 days. I might need to double check on that, but usually there's a time period when you can ask for this, right? So it has to leave at least 5 days after the purchase was made, and it's also, I think, for 30 days you can ask for a review for that specific product. So this is again within Amazon. Amazon allows this. You can install also tools. I know that Sellerize, I think, if they still have it, but they did had this process automated, so you don't have to go manually in and request the reviews. And also Vine reviews. This is a great way to get, again, extra reviews. The Vine reviews, the progress of Vine reviews was that first when they launched it, it was first available only to Vendor Central. It was around $2,000, $3,000. Then it became free. Then again, this year it's like around $200. But I think the most important thing to remember about Vine reviews is that you can get up to 30 reviews from people who are going to just give their honest feedback on your product. So I would definitely go for this option. And also there is a way how to get multiple Vine reviews for one product. Then again, this is a bit more higher level stuff, right? But then let's say if you have a variation, you can have like 3 products in it, and then you can add then each product within the Vine program, and then you can top up with 3 products. You can have up to 90 reviews. Again, this is a cool trick. Amazon allows it. It's still Amazon TS compliant, but just letting you know of like additional ways how you can get reviews, and Amazon is helping you with that. Again, it's extremely important. Don't neglect your reviews every time. Again, this is a costly mistake that I did not edit here, but it's still related to reviews. Most people, I see that they don't even care when they get 1 negative review. Whenever you get the 1 negative review, you must get 5 positive reviews in order to cancel the 1 negative one. So again, if you have brand registry, you can just contact the customers. It's within Amazon TS rules, and you can just let them know, hey, I'm really sorry. You can offer a refund. You can do all the things that Amazon is looking as. We are customer obsessed, so we're expecting you as well to be customer obsessed. So definitely that is one of the mistakes that you can avoid. Approximating advertising cost. Lukash was just saying something about this gentleman who was like, okay, I want to start it. I have a lot of time. Advertising costs, as much as I like advertising, since that's also one of the services that we offer, I learned that myself on our brand. And advertising costs, let me tell you, if you don't know how to approximate it within your category, and if you don't accord it at least 30% of your initial budget, you don't have fighting chance. You don't have any chance. Advertising can be not only on Amazon. Advertising can be on Amazon, external traffic, Facebook, Instagram, wherever. I was just watching a video about Pixelme of Carbon 6. So there are different tools there, but it's still part of advertising. Giving away, I don't know, 10 products, 20 products, 30 products for Vine reviews, that also should be considered as advertising, because you're giving away free product that you're not going to see like return besides the review itself, right? So considering advertising as a major player within your progress as an Amazon seller, or future to be Amazon seller, or ready to go rocking Amazon seller, this is also one of the hugest mistakes that I see many sellers make. And just because of that, they are not successful. They had money for inventing the product or like creating an amazing product. They had money to create the listing, they invested into amazing photographs, and everything is great, but now no one sees the listing, right? And this is like when really wisdom comes in. The way how I would like to structure it is 30% for inventory, 30% for advertising cost, and 30% for the next batch that you would buy. Again, this is a very simplistic way, but we made it purposely simple, just so the audience can follow along. And the last one is going to be hiring a bookkeeper. Now, keep in mind that, again, this is a process that most people are not doing. I just also had the pleasure to chat with Yael Kabili of Fortunate. And it was interesting what she was saying, because we were talking of how to prepare your business to sell. And she was mentioning, I had a question regarding how important it is for you guys to have a brand, or to sign up a brand, or to collaborate with a brand that has their books in order. And you know what she said? She says, Noemi, you know that most people, even like big sellers, seven-figure sellers, they don't have their books in order, right? So, and I was thinking, okay, so that's quite interesting. And she was saying that 6-figure sellers, or like smaller sellers, they might have this even more figured out. So I think that is a very interesting takeaway for you to just think of, okay, so if I really want to position my business, I see like in 2 years, I want to build my business to 6 figures, 7 figures. These are how many products should I bring in order to achieve that. But not keeping in mind that, okay, what is happening with the history of whatever happened within the account, having your books in order. If that is not a priority for you, trust me that it's going to become a priority once that you think, okay, I actually have a real business here and I actually have the chance to make real profits, not only small margins on it, once that you would like to sell it, right? So again, this is a huge mistake that I see seller makes, not understanding or not having at least clear numbers in place. Again, this is a history of what happens to your account. So it's not really a sales forecast, but at least taxes and comps, you have everything prepared. Trust me, we did it, only us. And then like 3 years ago or so on, it was like, okay, we cannot do it anymore because, for taxes, for all the purposes, it's just so much work. So I would highly recommend to hire a bookkeeper. You can get from $200, $300. I can also recommend our bookkeeper, Muse Minded. We've been with them for the past 3 years. Honestly, there are so many bookkeepers out there. Just the most important question is ensure that they understand how Amazon works, because it's going to be a high level of transactions on Amazon accounts. It's not as other different business models. And all in all, I think that I just wrapped up. That was it. Certainly hope that you enjoyed this one. And I also said, time to chat. If you have any questions, Lokesh, since you're not necessarily a newbie, but you kind of like got all these newbie questions, I'm curious to know your point of view. Which of these 10 mistakes you see most time people making when it comes to selling on Amazon?
Yeah, so if you could bring back the slide which mentioned all the 10 points, I think the most important which I feel is hire a bookkeeper. This is the biggest mistake people do. Sometimes they don't understand accounting. They don't understand numbers. They don't want to touch that part.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it all goes away.
Yeah.
And suddenly they have this, I would say, numbers, and then you have no capital. Your business goes away because you don't even know how much you have spent.
Yes.
And personally, I've seen people very scary of talking about numbers. So the last point was, I think, most important for me. Start to delegate is another thing, because unless you delegate, you cannot expand.
Right.
And systems and SOPs, I think almost all these points are really the gems people have to understand.
Right, definitely. Yeah, I see that it's interesting. I also get very same things and very same questions and very same. I see those being the most important mistakes, and like it's interesting to see that you have everything figured out until you realize that you don't have it figured out. So this is a cheat sheet. Just use it, use it and see. Maybe there are some things that don't apply to you, like more like power to you. That's perfect. But there must be at least one thing that applies, that if you're going to apply to your business, like really there are so many costly mistakes that I could have like shared with you, right? But if one of these can help you, it's going to help, like it's stacking on top, right? Understanding the business model is going to help you to create systems and SOPs, to start to delegate, to create really a brand around whatever you want to do, having a bookkeeper in place. Even if, as you were saying, Lokesh, even if you don't understand things, at least now you have what to question, right? Because most of the time people, you might think that, it's funny, like whenever I'm just like meeting up with friends and so on, and they're like successful sellers, and they would just say, man, I had no clue what I was doing, right? And it just sticked and I just became successful and it's great. But I'm happy for you. But in the same times, what about it comes down to someone replicating your success? They won't be able to replicate it unless you have a clear plan of action. And this is what it is right here, right? So knowing which are the first steps that you should be applying, I think it's super important.
Tell us more about ScaleWave.
More about ScaleWave. I absolutely love our company right now. I think that we are extending into the agency level. I love to say that we are an agency. We're still kind of consultancy based. I'm still very, very heavily involved. But basically, Still, it started as a project of me, myself, proving that I really know my stuff. We learned the hard way. I learned everything on my own brand, right? All the mistakes, all the positives, all the wins, all the negatives, I learned it there. And then I noticed that people were asking me things, and I knew questions to very complicated, complex, like things that most people don't, right? So actually, because we were talking about business and understanding the business model, so the private label model is very cash flow heavy. And what I noticed is that within the first years of business, we really did not take out money from the business. So I was thinking, okay, I learned all these things. I can help people. I can be paid also, like recompensated also. Why not start leveraging my knowledge, And this is how Scaleway started, out of pure, okay, I can do this. I did for myself. I can help others as well, right? And right now we are a small team, currently 5 employees, amazing teammates. We are always growing, but right now we are helping sellers become just like that, helping them to not make those costly mistakes that we did. We still have the hard conversation. We still have, even with large brands, that, okay, inventory issues, softwares to use, what are you doing here, how do you implying your SOPs, and so on. So right now I'm happy to say that we are in the position to growing into an agency, and while still helping the sellers as it would be when I was just the one who started it.
Okay, the Scale Wave is basically a hand-holding, full account management consulting agency.
Yes, and we also are specialized in PPC. So if you are looking only for advertising, we can help with that as well. But we're also able to help you with full account management. We can help you also with creating images for your pictures, creating listing, SEO. I think first we were a PPC agency, and then we transitioned into full account management, since we've seen that there's so much as you can do as a PPC agency, because if the listing it's not converting, it doesn't really matter how much money you throw at it. So right now we can help our brands to not only create specific ads for them, but also ensure that that listing is highly optimized, so it goes hand in hand together, and there's no okay, I have to talk to the other agency and so on, back and forth. But we do everything as a brand.
So for the American e-commerce sellers, PPC is something which a lot of people figure out. Can you tell us more about what exactly is PPC? Because many of the Indian e-commerce sellers, they don't really understand. They think that if you are putting your stuff on Amazon, it's going to start automatically and they're going to reap the benefits and income. But it is not actually true. So why PPC is important?
Sure thing. So that's a great question. And I think that I can answer you very upfront. In my previous life, I was a music producer, and I was really, really great at whatever I was doing. The problem was that I didn't know how to market myself. I didn't know how to go in front of labels and look, this is what I'm doing, this is my music, and so on and so forth, right? So what I noticed is that all the talent that it was there, all that was other people wanted, there was no way for them to find it, just because no one showed them, no one made the connection, right? So right now what we're doing with PPC stands for pay-per-click advertising, and it is on the Amazon platform. Basically what we're doing, it's exactly that, as I was describing myself, musician, not knowing how to promote themselves. That's what we're doing for you. We're not only promoting your product in front of the right audience, but we're promoting it at the right time, to the right audience, to people who are really interested in your product. Because most of the time, it's not all about investing in a good product. And it's sometimes not even all about, hey, I have a super special product, why don't people want it, So PPC is going to bring your product in front of the audience that we're talking about, your ideal customer that you want to sell to. PPC is a very, very important aspect of Amazon. It wasn't this important 4 years ago. Right now it is, and right now it's also costly. So this is why I'm saying, whenever it comes to PPC, it's great to have a general understanding of what actually means to sell your product, to have someone find your product. But the platform itself, you have to pay for a real high-end real estate. The 4 images that you would see first when you're on your desktop, or the first image that I just showed you with brand sponsored brand ads, those are the most expensive ones. And if you don't know how to show it to the right people, what you're doing, you're just bringing more risk and more risk and more risk and more risk towards your business until there's no much more money to deal with, right? So this is why I'm super advocating. Yes, it's one thing to understand what advertising is, but there's a whole new level whenever there are big players on the platform to see how you are still going to be profitable while showing your product to your best customer that you want to have your product, basically, right?
Yeah, I agree. So coming to the first point, understand the business model. And I also have been part of Wizard of Ecom, and you're also part of Wizard of Ecom for a lot of time. Do you think to understand the business model, how does Wizards of Ecom helps? Like what should a person do to understand the business model in terms of resources available with Wizard of Ecom?
Sure. So that's a really good question, and I think I just got my answer to that once that it was one of these meetings, and I had the pleasure to stay up front with Carlos, and there were so many questions, and someone was asking, okay, so I'm not sure what to do, what do you recommend? And I was looking backwards and understanding what did I do to get where I am, and I'm seeing that there are three things that I needed. I needed time, I needed money, and I needed expertise to achieve whatever I wanted to, to be where I was right there, right at the level that I was. So understanding the business model is going to be crucial because, again, by joining Wizards of Ecom, I just discovered that private label is just the one thing that can be done. There are other business models as well. Private label is the most expensive one because it requires a lot of capital, and while it's going to be a potential payoff, high payoff at the end, once that you're going to sell your business, until then, you still have to reinvest all the cash flow, all the capital that you're getting. So getting that, okay, private label is one business model. There are smaller, not necessarily smaller, but it requires smaller budget. So wholesale is the next one that is, again, it's very similar to private label in sense of you are going to sell the product, but this time someone else already thought of the branding, someone else already thought of what the product looks like, how to market it, and so on and so forth. And you just literally buy in bulk from them and you're going to sell it, right? So understanding that, hey, those are different business models that based on my time, money, and expertise, I could immerse myself in, right? The next one that is underneath, again, just because it requires less capital, it's going to be retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, maybe KDP books, KDP publishing. So there are a lot of perks there that, again, it's going to require maybe more time, but it's also going to require less budget. Then even at the bottom right now, actually, again, through the Wizards of Ecom community, I just found out about the Amazon influencer program, which is amazing, and just managed to create $1,000, $1,500, just like that. That's real passive income for me, right? So again, they're just really, you need to invest time. If you want to scale it, you can go nuts and create, hire out stuff and so on. But understanding that there are different business models that you can choose from based on the time availability, that is crucial, right? Because then you are going to have, you're going to meet your expectations rather than, okay, I learned this, I learned that, I learned that, and then I just learned that I'm not good at any of these, right? So instead of that, it's going to bring hope that, okay, this is it, how much I want to invest, and then where do I want to end up, basically. Did that answer your question?
Yes, and I would add more as my experience of understanding the business model. As Noemi knows that I am from India, the India expert, so I primarily look after the sourcing side. And after the visit and cruise, I also started helping Amazon sellers from India or Amazon sellers from US to establish the business in India. So for me, when I joined Wizard of Ecom, it just went online because of the great pause, because of the lockdown, and I learned so much. Even though I'm not a seller. Of course, I was helped by Carlos and Alexis to get a book, and I think me and Noemi were the people who understood the KDP and how to publish a book. So I am on Amazon as a bookseller, but the way products move, the way you should be doing your product business, the weekly meeting of Saturday, earlier it was on Zoom, now it's on YouTube. So you, even if you are away from Miami, you can still watch it. And now with the growth of Wizard of Ecom in different cities, you have Los Angeles, you have Tampa, you have I think there are 6 other locations where these meetups are happening. Then you yourself are doing a podcast
Yes.
on various topics, and together with Carlos. And I think Carlos has more than 1,000 videos in the library which you can subscribe to, and you can figure out. You will also find one of my videos are sourcing from India as well. If you type something like that, okay, I want to do something sourcing from India, you will see that. So this is a humongous resource when you say understand the business model. Live meetings, physical meetings, YouTube meetings, podcast. Personally, if I am in a place where Amazon sellers should start the business, I would say invest at least 2 hours of your day to understand the business. Don't just jump in with your money. Don't just say, okay, this is something I want to do. Uh, Many people also make a mistake of directly going private label. Like many of the experienced sellers never say that you should not be touching private label unless you understand the business. And I would say at least 2 hours should be spent every day dedicated to resources, to understand and listen from people and reach out with your situation. I think then you have a lot of conferences happening where you can, if you are really serious about business and you want to invest more, you can also attend conferences and meet and see how people are speaking about various topics.
100%. And I think my personal takeaway, what I learned from Wizards of Ecom, I was always the person who asked 100 questions within like the 60 minutes, right? I was annoying, super annoying. But you know what? I always got each meeting a side message. Noemi, thank you so much for asking that question. I was so afraid to ask it, So especially when you're at the beginning of your business, like you should be asking so many questions. You say that they are stupid questions. No, they are just like you don't have experience. Rather learn and rather ask than just do that on your own mistake and like, so ask as many questions as you can. And then as time goes on, and as Lokesh was saying, you're taking your time, you're learning and so on, you're going to learn to ask even more sophisticated questions, because at the beginning, you don't know how to ask. Then you're learning to ask better questions and better questions, so.
Yeah, even today, every Saturday, 1 p.m. when Carlos starts the beginner hour, that's his humble submission. No question a dumb question. So you can ask me what is Amazon, and I can start from there. So I think we have had a great community, and thank you, Noemi, for coming today. I think destiny was there that everything happens for a cause. I do believe in that philosophy. That whatever happens, it happens for a cause. It happens at the right time, and whatever is happening for good. So I'm sure this will be a very important video, a referral video for all my audiences who are coming on several meetups and they are literally confused where to start. And if these 10 mistakes, which primarily almost takes care of all the things. Yes, there are certain things which would need to deep dive, how to optimize your listing, how to do your ranking. These are certain in-depth details, and you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to a lot of the resources. But for a beginner, I think these are the most important points to take care. So I'm really delighted to have you today, Noemi, and these are great resources for people. Thank you so much.
It was my absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on it. As you were saying, there's no stupid question, especially when you're at the beginning. So there you go. Thank you so much for your audience to listening in. I appreciate that.